Good evening. Welcome everybody. This is Jones Cat 79, aka Chris, joined by my usual co-host, aka Dark Derek, aka Dark Neon.
Peace be with you.
Yes, and we are here for another Rambling Live. Now, I'm sure you guys already noticed that just we're going right off the bat on this one. Well, numerous reasons. One, I've been having some technical snafus, and I don't want to risk another incursion, so I had to figure just go for the gut while we still have good connection. And two, I couldn't really think of a punchy enough intro anyway, given that the news of the world combined with the heavy movie we were talking about anyway, that I think it would probably be best just to jump into the thick of things anyway, since the movie itself jumped into the thick of things. The movie, of course, we're talking about is Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the sequel to the acclaimed Black Panther of the MCU and like the 24th or 25th film in the MCU overall, I think.
And before we do proceed, I feel it's only fitting that we take a moment of silence to another recent loss in hero franchise today. The passing of great Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and many numerous Warner Brothers projects, and even Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was kind of.
Yes, Kevin Conroy was for a lot of people in my generation and age group their first Batman. And I can imagine his passing today, but I also feel like what a lot of people felt like when they heard Adam West had passed away. And while for us, Adam West was a legend and he had passed, and like, oh, that's a shame, lived a full life. This was a little more closer because Kevin Conroy, was a part of a lot of our childhoods. Like, some of us were either just born or kids at the time of his show running, and we'd see it running on Fox and Kids WB, and he would go on to do Justice League Unlimited, and all the likes and forwards. So he really did define that character. In fact, when I read Batman and graphic novels, in my head, the narration voice tends to sound like Kevin Conroy.
I also heard you more. You actually got to meet the guy. I at least got to meet Adam West for literally almost like a few weeks before he passed away. His time.
So what you're saying is, if Michael Keaton or Ben Affleck comes to one of these cons, be careful about seeing them because we don't want to read them in the papers a few weeks from now.
Hmm. Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on. I have a wooden desk right now, knocking on all the wood right now. But yeah, the point is though, is that yeah, it was an honor to meet him for that one time. It was funny. He was in the same panel as Susan Eisenberg, I believe her name is, the Wonder Woman from Justice League, and George Newbern, who was, I think, also in later Justice League, because Tim Daly did do Superman for a long time, but it was George Newbern who did him in a lot of the movie appearances and stuff. Like one of my favorite ones is the adaptation of What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way, the Elite. And it's so funny because when he goes dark Superman, I just go, oh, he's just using his Sephiroth voice in that instant.
And you got to see like the DCAU Trinity.
Well, I didn't get to
You
meet
know,
Susan
the
Eisenberg, but I did get to see George because, well,
but you
si-
still encountered her. Like you probably saw her in a panel. You said.
I didn't get to go to the panel itself, but I know she
Oh,
was a guest there. Also, a guest that was there that I didn't see was Robert Costanza, the Bullock of the ADC, and I would have loved to have met him, but I just the scheduling didn't allow me to go to see him. But uh, the animated series was a big deal of why I love the Batman character to begin with. So again, I'm not okay, it is sad to hear, but I'm not like an emotional wreck over this because it just feels like, you know, he was such a great voice for the character, and it's not like he was just a voice actor. Oh, he was it is important. I do respect people who do, you know, mourn, and everyone has their own way of coping and mourning. So which is kind of funny because that's kind of the theme of the movie we're going to talk about today. But all we can say right now is rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. Thank you for the many memories you've given so many people and so many comrades in your field, like Mark Hamill, Rob Paulson. Everybody who's ever worked with him is sending their tributes now. It's quite moving, actually. And in a week and a month where there's all sorts of like reasons to be divided, it is so great to see at least one moment of people coming together in solidarity. Everybody saying the same thing, that he was a great, not just a great Batman, but just a great person in general. And it's great to see that going around because, like I said, I've never ever seen anybody ever say his Batman was awful or sucks. And in this day of my Batman's better than your Batman, and everyone can always universally agree, oh, Kevin Conroy. Like even back then in the Channel Awesome days when Nostalgia Critic was doing his top 10 things. I love how he's trying to figure out a voice. He goes, "Oh, the Dark Knight." No, 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 the Michael Keaton. I'm Batman. No, no. And he goes Adam West, and then oh, Kevin Conroy. Wow, my testicles just dropped to the floor.
Have a silence comment.
Okay, so with
Now that
that,
we got that out of the way, let's also recall that this movie was quite an endeavor from the moment that the news came about. It was it was 2020, right? That was
yes, it
everybody
was
was stuck in.
2020.
Yeah, so when that news dropped, the probably all of Marvel Universe and Marvel fandom kind of shattered uh, to
Well,
become of this.
well, hell, like we were going to record an episode of our extrospective, and I remember you sent me a message saying Chadwick, he's passed, and I'm like, wait, what? And I saw it lighting up my news feed, and it was unbelievable because the guy was fighting cancer since 2016. Basically, when he started the Black Panther role, he's had this cancer that he'd never really disclosed to anybody outside of his family. So it's like, he was a real trooper carrying on, but at the same time, it really did put everyone else in a rough spot of, oh my God, what are we gonna do?
And this is you have to understand. This is like, oh well, we can just recast it like the Rhodey or just very recently with Thunderbolt Ross. This was again the fact that he did all this work, first impression, introduction, interactions with many Marvel casts and Infinity and Endgame, and even in his own debut movie to really implement the Black Panther mainstream when he was kind of like still in the hazy, like, oh yeah, you the guy with the cat suit, right? But he literally helped make this character stand out, and do that while keeping this and just battling it through. It's like it's pretty much something that like, shake off to say, okay, well, just um,
And I do know
um,
that there was some within his group, even if I may say, knowing him better, he probably would have probably say that no, the role shouldn't be tied to him too much. Like he could be recast, and because I know we've been in tricky situations like this before. Like Star Wars had the unfortunate passing of Carrie Fisher midway through the trilogy, and there were a lot of talks of how to handle that situation. And I'm pretty sure Marvel took reactions from that as a barometer to how to approach this, because again, this is uh, rather unfortunate. Like Ryan Coogler apparently had his script for Black Panther 2 all written out and ready to go. Then he hears the news that not only the star actor, but a personal close friend of his has passed. Like it took a lot for everybody to process about how are they going to go forward after something like this.
again, right, especially knowing the director was a very, very close, passionate friend of Chadwick. It's not an easy thing to just have someone. This is where the like literally the whole original cast and crew down come together and say, okay, this movie needs to actually be match the way we've handled Chadwick's passing and put that in character passing with
And yeah, you could see it in like some of the monologues some of the characters give in this movie. Like he was the Black Panther to everybody, but he was stuff like that, and you can feel the real rawness of it, if that makes sense. Oh hell, this was the movie that Derek was the most nervous for when he saw the Phase 4 slate for this year. Because keep in mind, we all we had to go off of was a name, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and November. We knew Chadwick passed away. We didn't know if they were going to do the whole CGI double thing or not. We didn't know if they were going to kill him or not. Because there was just so much unknowns. And Derek was like, of all the movies coming out, that was when I got the most nervous. Not because it was just the idea that they had to deal with something this big of a monkey wrench in their well-oiled machine, and he's all like, is it's a you don't envy anybody with this kind of position, going in with that kind of odds and circumstances, right?
I was mostly just sort of like how they were gonna explain passing and but we're just gonna go right off the bat. Like really that T'Challa passes away because of illness, much like Chadwick passed. So obviously, like not about it in a long front and center saying no, T'Challa passed away due.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting in and out. I'm trying to get that. Maybe it's probably me. I'm gonna try to get
Wait,
something. Uh,
sorry.
yeah,
Am I still coming through? Am I still coming through?
there you are. Yeah, but you were like chopping in and out, in and out. So maybe it's my connection. I'm trying to get things. All right, everybody, bear with us. Again, we're doing this thing live, and anything could happen. Don't forget, I did an entire stream for Halloween, not realizing my mic wasn't connected, and it led to some rather. Uh,
One-sided conversation.
there we go. Okay, you're coming in clearer now.
Okay. Uh, I hope we don't have to do all that again.
Okay, but you were just mentioning how you were just nervous about how they ripped the band-aid off in the first frames. Oh, by the way, this will have spoilers, but for now,
Well,
we're gonna be.
this is literally like the first minute when you watch the movie, and like it's not like a big grandiose like explanation of how T'Challa passed. He passed due to an illness, a illness they don't describe, they don't explain the origins of it. They say he just had like an unknown illness, which,
Surprised
which
that
is probably which is probably the right about way to do it. Because if they tried to explain it's like a super rare, ultra like tense disease, it would be like okay, so it's like only T'Challa gets it, no one else does.
I'm gonna guess it has something to do with the herb, and that was gonna be the way to save him, the heart-shaped herb. But of course, thanks to the coup with uh with Killmonger, uh, that ended up, all of them ended up destroyed.
Yeah, it did kind of kerfuffle things now that I think about it. It it was probably a case of like kind of almost how like borrowing from another franchise, Dragon Ball, how Goku was at one point ill and he didn't know where it originated, and it only took like until a time after where he got originated actually took effect and like put him down. So I would probably assume he got it from his fall after he was hit by Eric Killmonger. Probably was something in the river. We don't know, but
And like I said, or maybe it was too much ingestion of the heart-shaped herb because he had to take it away for his first time as a Black Panther. He had to take it away for his ritual for King, go back into it, take it away again in the short matter when Killmonger challenges the throne, nearly gets killed, and then gets taken with it under. So I'm not sure the herb killed him, but it's like I'm guessing.
it's probably his immune system having to like, okay, do you want it or do you not?
And I don't think it had anything to do with the blip. I don't think that had anything to do with this
No,
condition.
I imagine the blip probably it's like the way to describe it, it's like basically every like thing you had when you flipped out returned exactly where it was. It was essentially like it's exactly how they describe it in a blip. It's like you're there 1 minute and then you just like you must have passed out because they're just waking up. But it's literally like nothing happened to them.
So I think that's probably what happened in this case. That whatever they caught only way later, and yeah. So they do. Like I said, it's the first opening of the movie. You see him get taken out off screen, and the reactions are just so heartbreaking. And they start doing this very beautiful, uh, funeral procession. Like there's no other way to describe it. It's one of the prettiest things that they open up with. And actually, I did see a joke on a reviewer show where they mentioned that the only one I felt really bad for was Chadwick's family because they're probably looking at the funeral going, "Wow, this blows anything we did out of the water." A little bit of humor to that
Oh,
thing, but yeah, it's like I said, that this is how we open before even the logo begins.
Oh,
And
speaking of the logo, very very tasteful that they pulled off the fanfare and actually, once again, I think this is their second time they did it. They had a montage with Chadwick.
what was the first time?
Um, first thing, the first project they did that came after he passed. I think
Because it's not Black Widow, or was it Black Widow?
no, I don't know. I
Shang,
can't remember. It was
or not Shang-Chi. No, maybe it was Shang-Chi. Or no, or I think it was actually one of the what ifs, wasn't it?
maybe I don't know.
I know, but I know the only other time they ever changed the logo that drastically was when they were doing the re-release of Endgame, and they did a tribute to Stan Lee in it by having like the Stan Lee be the part of the logo thing, all his cameos basically.
Wasn't he also for in Captain Marvel opening?
Oh no, you're right. It was Captain Marvel. That I'm sorry, I'm getting my wires crossed, but yeah, they've done this before where they would do a fitting tribute to whoever they needed, and it was perfect. But here's the thing, just to spoil this, I felt a little bad because it was dead quiet in that theater because the thing. And here's me and my sister just we're so into it, we're just crunching on our popcorn, and you could hear our crunching noticeably. Everybody was just like dead silent, seeing the purple logo come on with all of Chadwick's stuff.
I think the a theater hasn't gotten that deadpan quiet since. I'm sure it was time, but the one I can think of most uh, the first thing that comes to mind would probably be Star Trek 4 opened up with getting tribute to those lost called the
Uh,
Challenger, right?
yeah, the shuttle, the
Yeah,
Challenger explosion. I do remember that the theater was probably dead quiet for A Quiet Place, but that was out of necessity.
yeah. You remember we heard how they explained that in the Search of Tomorrow documentary about how like deadpan quiet was.
But yeah, so the all right. So anyway, when we did see the trailer, uh, there were a lot of unknowns about it, but I like how even the trailer was like a moving tribute because it had that cover of everything's gonna be all right. But I do like as how more stuff is revealed. It gets that rapper edge that the other trailers for the original Black Panthers had. But it was a very somber trailer, and it opens up with that images from the funeral, and then it also revealed that not only are we getting a story continuation of the Wakanda story, but we're also getting Namor the Submariner of all things. Which, if you're an old school Marvel fan, that's a deep cut to get that guy.
Especially considering the fact that he was in development hell for the longest time, because his rights somehow, I don't know how, but I guess Universal thought they would get something out of this. I guess they decided, you know what, screw it, we can't like think of diddly spot with this. You can have a back Marvel.
And they did make a few changes to update him to keep him at the times because the original I think the original Namor was ambiguous into what he is or anything other than that he is a mutant. In fact, I think they call him the first mutant in the comics because he was literally the first character that they weren't called Marvel at the time, but they made that character. So I think in retcons they to confirm he was part of the same mutant race as the X-Men.
So
Oh,
of course, this would be the second confirmed mutant we have in the MCU, as we had a universe that has good old Charles
so
doing what he does best, be, doing the best he can, but ultimately ended up fucking up things.
no kidding. I don't know who's messed up stuff in Marvel more, Charles or Reed Richards. Probably Reed.
Yeah, definitely ready.
Yeah, but yeah. So Namor, and he's cast by Tenoch Huerta, a Latin actor, and they ended up they decided they're not going to do Atlantis again. that they were going to go ahead and make it this based more off of Mayan, culture with like the telocons and everything. And it's also very coincidentally when we saw the trailer, we noticed that Okoye is fighting swimming blue people. And ironically, coincidentally, in the same year, we're also getting another movie from Disney that involves water and blue people.
Funny enough, obviously the trailers for that played out before Black Panther for me,
Oh my
and
god,
also the first Phase 5 entry to come.
Quantumania. So when we saw the other trailer, this was the trailer that got us more assured about it. Was the second trailer that has them describing Namor and everything, and they had uh they had Shuri have more prominence in the trailer. They also displayed Ironheart because I was surprised when I didn't know Ironheart was going to be in this thing until they started reporting figures, and I go, they're going to put Ironheart in this thing, and I know sometimes you can get a little bit nervous if they start introducing a lot of comic book stuff too much too fast, right?
Sorry, I kind of blanked out. What was going on?
Oh, talking about how as more came out, I started realizing they're going to introduce Ironheart, Namor, other stuff. I was like, oh, are we going a little too fast? But in the end, they ended up making it work, I thought. But I still remember the big standout moment for the trailer, and they had to put it in was when you see that a new Black Panther has indeed going to appear in the movie with because they only hinted at it in their first trailer, which is showing you claws, but this time they show you more of a suit, and you realize, and it's something that Derek's been calling for. In fact, when T'Challa was removed in Infinity War's shocking climax, you thought, oh well, is Shuri left behind, and maybe she's gonna learn to pick up the mantle and instead and everything like that. And he gets a little like what when they're counting the results of blip victims, and her picture shows up, and he goes, "Oh, come on, it was right there."
They, I was mostly pissed at the fact that they didn't even show her. Oh, but they'll show like fucking Bucky go and like the Jabari go, but it's just,
I know, but yeah, well, now that she's got it, so but he was still the biggest thing we were asking about is will this be respectful to what Chadwick laid behind? And short answer is I say yes, unequivocally yes. This movie nails that spot in such a good way that you're going to be hearing that more about this movie. And I know it's concerning where you're only focusing on one aspect of a movie in your reviews, but every review has been consistent in saying they did justice to the T'Challa character and they did justice to handling the coping with his loss in a way that doesn't feel like they're just getting sympathy for points for money or anything like that. It really does feel like this is how the director felt he could cope his feelings. This is how all the cast members felt. It really did feel like uh, it's very similar to that situation that the Fast and Furious cast found themselves in when the unexpected death of Paul Walker happened, and Vin Diesel ends up having a tribute moment to him at the very end. The only reason that thing was a little sullied was the fact that they did have to use CG with on one of his brothers for the goodbye, drive away scene, and it can't help but be noticeable. So thankfully they didn't do nothing like that with this, which we were all like, they if they were gonna go that route, it would have to be the most flawless deep fake you can make, which they're getting better. I mean, just look at Book of Boba Fett and Mark Hamill in that.
I honestly thought they would at least at one point uh you use like a voice clip of his, like at least have a passing.
Or like at least have like a body double in the Panther suit. Like you don't see his face, but maybe you see like the claw slump on the table or something.
Like,
But
I honestly thought at least like even in ancestral play like have like a reused shot of him probably. I don't know like, but
but
even then you'd have to stop and wonder. It's like, well, would that even actually respectful if they did that?
yeah, in the end, the clips they did use at the point that they did use came at the right time. So that's the short answer for this movie. Other things, I thought the action was really well done for a lot of parts. There's a lot of nail biting moments in this movie where you're going, oh shit, because Ryan Coogler directed some of the most hard-hitting boxing scenes I've ever seen in his Creed entry, and he
Oh,
managed to.
speaking of that, they actually played a trailer of Creed 3.
Coincidentally, Kang is in that one too. That's Jonathan Majors playing Donnie's friend there, and he's going to be Kang. We already saw him as He Who Remains, or we're going to see He Who Remains variant as the Conqueror in Quantumania. Isn't that nuts?
So basically, what you're saying is Eric Killmonger is facing Kang.
Yes.
I would totally buy that if it was Infinity Killmonger.
But yeah, so I thought the action was really great. I thought the new culture they built with the telecons was engrossing, and as someone who does have some Hispanic heritage, hearing them speak Spanish naturally for some scenes made me feel at home, if that makes any sense.
I thought you were gonna go and say it. Oh, that's cheeky.
I just like, oh, how could I thought I don't even have to read the subtitles for some of this, and I still look at the subtitles. I'm just going, oh, I get it. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff I liked about it, and the biggest thing I could say about this movie is I did not feel the length. This movie was like a few minutes shy of the No Way Home runtime, but it didn't feel that long, thankfully, for me.
All right, I did it again. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
That's,
I didn't feel the length in this movie, and it was like a few minutes shy of Homecoming's runtime. I mean, No Way Home, No Way Home.
oh, right. Like, yeah, no, I wasn't like worried about like how long it was feeling. Uh, even like not trying to embarrass my brother, he didn't feel like he had to go or do anything midway. Definitely lengthy movie. Definitely feel at some point the urge to do something. If to word it that way.
Oh yeah, but like I mine was because I had eaten before. Mine was a race to get everything done before even the movie started. So I was racing against trailers. So when I came back and saw, oh, we're barely on the Avatar trailer. Good. But that still means there's still time. By the way, that trailer in IMAX is the most beautiful I've ever seen Pandora look ever. So okay, not to get
Okay,
sidetracked.
well, actually, just one more sidetrack point. I just guess I just can't help but imagine that in 2024 we're probably gonna have a little bit of a civil war between you and me, dominate either Sonic 3 or Avatar 3.
I'm just gonna give it to. It depends on how well Water does, but I think Sonic is gonna definitely give them a run for their money.
Especially considering the fact that who they're adding in this one, next one.
Yeah.
Like that one's
So
gonna get a lot of people talking.
yeah.
So back to, back to the Black Panther.
Oh my God. Yeah. So and are there any vague general thoughts you want to give too before we go deep into the meaty stuff?
I feel like Riri Williams got a very very good first impressions. I know there's a lot of people that were kind of shaky about like either the likes of American Chavez or even uh, the new girl from the Thor: Love and Thunder being
Love.
introduced.
Hmm.
Yeah, Love. But that Riri is definitely like from the get go. It's like definitely has your attention to the fact that she like puts down a guy that almost tried to rip her off on her Venmo. Like altercations on a mechanical arm that was. Why did you need this additional mechanic there? Okay, fine. I'll pay you extra.
But yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
So and I also want to say that I really love the performance of a lot of the Wakanda supporting cast. They're just as strong as ever. So Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia is great. She has a really pivotal moment. Uh, Angela Bassett
Yeah,
as
is
oh
the
Queen Ramonda.
yeah, Ramonda. It definitely is a powerhouse. It actually really like gets your attention anytime she's on the screen.
Even in
Uh,
the trailers, like that, there was that one trailer we love where she says, "I know what you're all saying. They have lost the protector,"
the
and,
king is dead.
and then she just, but someone said this: if I was in that room with her and she said that, I would have been like, just ooh, get me out of here because it's like when you get the stern principal talk. and not like the fire and brimstone principle, but the I'm not mad, just disappointed type principle. That's the kind of vibe you got from that speech at the UN.
Also, definitely a shout out to a new member of the Mage that got introduced. Uh, pronunciation was the Canada.
Oh, but she was the other Dora Milaje that got along with Shuri's tech.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. And again, the classics are a standout. Like, oh my gosh, like once again, the not this movie is not all sadness and grimness. Some of the levity comes from Riri being the wide-eyed teen in over her head over stuff, and of course Winston Duke as M'Baku is still one of the funniest things because he was a delight in the first Black Panther. I mean, one of the funniest scenes being in when he's messing with them at the Jabari homeland, and Ever keeps talking. Speak out of turn one more time, and I will feed you to my children. Then he laughs and goes, "I'm just kidding. We are vegetarian here." Like stuff like that. Just plus the Jabari still do their grunts. I'll tell you that they do that funny little ooh ooh thing they do every now and then.
Aneka. That was her name.
Haneka, yeah. So Everett Ross is still, very funny. I like how he comes up as the swarmy government agent type in Civil War, and he's become quite a lovable, addition to the Black Panther cast. So all that stuff is really good, I thought.
Oh yeah, we also can't forget the appearance of the lady Nick Fury, Julian
Uh,
Dreyfus, who's
Val, Lady
uh
Contessa.
yeah. But I kind of made that connection because every time she appears, I'm just back in my eyes like, oh, we're building up more to the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I think her character counterpart is considered to be Madame Hydra, so maybe that's her ulterior motive. But I had to explain to Marissa real quick because she hadn't seen all the show. She's the one behind Bad Captain America. That's the best way I could describe it to her right away. Although Don Walker's not
I
really bad Captain America, he's just unhinged.
The Dark Mirror Captain
Yeah,
America. Let's just go with that.
but he's
I
still
had to I had to quickly explain to my brother say, oh, no, that's the woman that Yelena talked with when she was at Black Widow's grave.
yeah. But if you think about it, almost every single Phase Four headache comes from uh comes from Val sticking her nose in. Just kind of, I think she's more of an agent of chaos than Agatha is. But yeah,
Yeah, I didn't expect her to appear as not as much as I didn't expect another person to be here. But we're just gonna save that one for spoilers. We ain't gonna ruin a good thing.
all right. So I think now that we got that was one of the most points I want to talk about. Was let's go big into this. Letitia Wright as Sherry is just great because she is going through. She's the first one we opened up with. Hell, she's normally a science tech person, so the fact that she opens up the whole movie with "Bass give me strength" is like when you're in an act of desperation and you turn to religious figures. That's usually like a sign that things are dour. If you're like when the atheists begin to pray, things are fucked.
I never actually got that whole thing about her being like an atheist.
Well, she's not an atheist
'Cause
per se, but it's just that she's probably more agnostic to the idea. I think she puts more faith in science and numbers than old tales.
she's anti-traditional. It's just,
But yeah, so I do like that. So uh she's been bearing herself in her work to the point where Okoye and Queen Ramada are basically like yeah, you kind of probably need to get out of the lab because, but she keeps thinking, could she have saved T'Challa? Because she was always so close, but all her formulations have failed. So I guess she kind of, in a sort of way, blames herself. It's kind of like Superman in a way, where he has all these gifts, all these powers, but he couldn't stop a simple heart attack from taking his father figure. Or like so with her, she's very gifted, very intelligent. She could figure out almost any problem. But here she is presented with an impossible problem, and it costs her someone very close to her. If that makes sense.
but then again, that's how powerless he felt. Like this death that keeps happening every days around us. pop culture.
Oh
Well,
man, yeah. So and the thing is that the thing is people kind of were worried because Shuri was just a side character in both Infinity War and Black Panther chooses to support. So here she is graduating to the big leagues of being the emotional anchor for this whole movie.
I'd argue that she did have pretty much a pretty big important in the first Black Panther movie. Rewatched it, I could have to tell there were cues that like there were like seeds that could be sown for art to come.
Yeah. And the
That
other
makes any sense.
Yeah, I understand. And the other thing is the fact that in real life, Letitia Wright actually did suffer a slight stunt accident that put a delay on the production. The first delay was because of personal views about vaccinations at the time, kind of put a wrench in the thing, but those got settled thankfully. But the other time was when they were doing a stunt on a motorcycle that involved her actually being on it, but it was just a little thing that's supposed to follow her. And it was just a simple ride shot, but the attached camera piece gimbal that car ended up striking a curb, which sheared off the bike and made her shatter a collarbone and stuff. So it's like that even Ryan Coogler was like, "Oh shit," because she was basically the sister figure on the group. Like both Ryan and Chadwick saw her as like the little sister. So to see someone like that get hurt on their watch was like very harrowing.
Yeah, like I wasn't even aware of that incident, but it's
There was a couple of incidents that happened on this way to the point where even Derek was saying, "Is this movie cursed? Is this Fate's way of saying them don't release this?" Because I remember there was a couple of delays and stuff that happened, and there were a couple of injuries and nonsense stuff. So that Derek was going, "You don't think this is the world trying to tell him something?"
I'll I'll, I'll take your word for that. I don't remember saying that, but then again, I'll say
Now
about
I know you
anything being
did.
cursed if like there's like weird like expounded day after day of something going wrong with something.
Now I know for a fact you're feeling that way with our friends across on the DC pond of our another project I'm not even going to get into because everybody knows about the drama going on over there with that particular Speedy character. So the less said about that, the better, right? But yeah, so point
But
is, she had a lot to put up with. Uh, she also was personally affected by Chadwick's passing in a very personal way because even the chemistry that they had on screen was very sibling-like. I'm like that with my sister sometimes. I mean, she's like that with me too sometimes. So seeing that was always cute to me and her to see that see two siblings represented so properly in in a uh in a movie like that was uh, I know it's cliche to say I see myself in that, but in that case we saw that we would think, yeah, we could that the interaction works like that, like the whole laughing whenever one of us gets knocked down and recording our follies or saying stuff like you need to upgrade this and that like that, not to the extent that they do, but it still feels very very authentic. So here she is having to channel that into something about her moving on and all that stuff.
I think that's pretty much a good enough way for us to jump into spoilers.
Okay, so the first big action sequence where the UN nation, I think it was France, tried to break into one of the outreach centers to steal vibranium tech, and only
Well,
to get
all the while, what the French ambassador of the United Nations was about saying like you really like that adamant to keep vibranium to yourself, despite the fact that this thing could actually be used as a weapon of mass destruction. So how can we expect that you won't actually use that for your own? Which is ironic considering the fact that they've been sitting on that for almost like decades or even centuries now, and they've done Jack Dilly squat with it against all you fuckers. So
yeah. The only reason the other incident happened was because a billionaire made a rogue AI that decided to play God and blow up the world with a meteor, and that's why Chief King
it
T'Chaka.
always comes back to Sokovia, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
God damn it, Tony.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's why the UN. Oh, by the way, I got so happy seeing the UN ambassador guy played by Richard Schiff. I'm like, hey, it's Eddie. He was the unfortunate bloke who met the most brutal end in the Jurassic Park trilogy for a lot of people, the wishbone death. He was also Dr. Hamilton in Man of Steel.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what's what I was going like. I swear I've seen this guy. Whatever.
Yeah, he was Dr. Hamilton in Man of Steel, Eddie in Jurassic Park, and oh man, I forgot his name, but he was the friendly doctor in Doctor Dolittle that actually helps him operate on the tiger. But yeah, Richard Schiff's a great guy. Yeah, it's very funny how he's playing the guy saying, we would, you guys are still choosing not to cooperate despite all this stuff, and then the UN peacekeeping forces that go in there end up expecting to find the tools or something, and instead they get a face full of Dora Milaje whoop ass. Which you got, but that scene was rather haunting when they just come out of the shadows and surround him, and then yeah, I thought,
Like,
oh,
oh, you done fucked up. You
that
done
that is
fucked up. You
that
done
is
fucked up.
that you done fucked up now, meme. Like, oh my god, and this is where I say the action does work well because they top them apart pretty well without killing them. And I like how they bring all those guys back to you and right in front of them after Ramada's all like, we got records of who sanctioned this and everything. We'll be uploading it to your laptops now and saying that this is just a fair warning. Mess with us, keep messing with us, and it might not be so diplomatic, basically.
Would you say that this is them being reasonable?
Yes, that was being reasonable. I love how that's gonna be a thing between me and him going onward. Every time like, we were watching Infinity War Endgame the other day, and she was tearing apart that, and I was suddenly going, I think she's beyond reasonable at this point. I'm like, yeah, me too.
Oh dear.
But oh man, but I do like how Queen Ramada has to like show strength in the face of losing both her son and her husband within a rather short time span. So it's like I wonder if she was ever Dora Milaje or anything else, the War Dog before ascending to Queen. I would like to wonder that. But
I mean, she wasn't exactly a royalty before Shaka, so I don't know. Maybe that's someone got a little bit behind the curtain.
well, then again, the MCU has a track record of having pretty badass moms like Frigga and Ramonda. I remember someone says I saw one of those meme pictures where it says "Thank you for being" and "Not you," and the "Not you" was Steven's mother, Mark's mother in Moon Knight. And I'm like, okay, that was warranted.
Oh, oh, that's salt.
You remember that? It says, "Thank you for being awesome, mom." But she got the "not you" square. I was laughing when I saw it. Like, oh,
Yeah, fuck that mom.
yeah. So, oh god. One last sidetrack, but still Marvel. I still love that meme. Welcome to Moon Knight. Here you will find physical pain, emotional pain,
Pain, pain.
excruciating pain, and even more pain. You're going. Don't forget the threat of pain. That happens a lot too. God. Well, I can't believe people are saying Phase 4 is so rocky when I've had so much fun with most of their entries.
Uh, most being what was the weak one?
I don't think I have a drastically weak one. I'm just saying I've been having fun with the content so far. Falcon Winter Soldier was fine to me. I really liked it. Loki was, got the more that show went on, the more we got into it. Like, holy crap! Like, I'm still getting pissed at myself that I haven't bought that Sylvie figure. I keep seeing that teasing me at GameStop. I got Mobius. I got Mobius before I got Sylvie. What's up with that? Moon Knight, incredible. I did not expect to love it as much as I did, but it's freaking Oscar Isaac. Miss Marvel, so cute. Just a well done little, golly shucks teenage adventure. I haven't had one of those in a while. All of What If was pretty entertaining.
She-Hulk,
Yes, She
like
Hulk.
the the most what WTF ending, and I love it.
Yeah. By the way, I'm sorry we fell off the wagon not doing our follow up She Hulk reviews. We figured we wait till the series is over, but I kind of went to the wayside. But point is, I know people are split about their opinions on She Hulk, but me and Derek give it our thumbs up.
I would give it like 4 thumbs if I could have.
So anyway, going back to the Black Panther, I still find it interesting that they find out that they're so convinced that vibranium only exists in Wakanda. So and they gave a very assured threat to the UN, saying, "Don't ever try these shadow ops on us again." So they figured, okay, well, we'd they figured they'd still be searching for vibranium elsewhere, and lo and behold, among the fishes, a whale, to use another comic property phrase. Yeah, they found that the detector. They found that there's vibranium deep under the water, and an
Which is
expedition.
probably and that expedition goes sour very fast.
Oh yeah, like
But
it turns into
but
a horror movie
but
like Deep Star Six or something.
but then again, anytime someone like has like a underwater excursion in a comic book uh, universe, you just know it's like, okay, so when the Atlantean slash Atlantean stand-in's gonna come in and stuff.
But yeah, like
Oh, I did not expect the siren call thing. As soon as like the sound went off and they were starting to put out like it was just like, oh no, they're pulling on Stranger Tides on us.
and then oh my gosh, but I think the moment where I went, oh shit, was when they tried to escape by helicopter, and then something just grabs them. And I thought, oh, is it the squid, the octopus, jellyfish? And then no, it's a shadow of a man with winged feet. And I do like how Ramona decides that Queen Ramona thinks that she would have to reach out to Shuri personally, but she had to leave behind all the tech stuff to really go forward with this ritual where she's convinced that she can think of T'Challa and feel his presence in a way to help comfort him that he's not really gone. And they go to a little excursion in the Serengeti, and there's elephants, and it's like, oh, this is very very sweet. And
And, and then it turns really sour quick, and Namor shows up. And bear in mind, they have a security system that's around literally around the rivers of Wakanda. The fact that this guy just like swam through, swam under, or as they describe it later, it was like basically 100 kilometers of water underneath. That's kind of like
undetected.
not, yeah, undetected. That's kind of a scary thing to have someone like just arrive at your doorstep without you even having a whiff of them.
And not only that, but he was wearing vibranium coated, armaments on his jewelry. So and he's pretty much saying, yeah, I like how he's admiring the place, going like, your water's so pristine, the air is clear. It's just you guys were so isolated, but you guys never had to hide yourself. But once you showed yourself to the world, everyone's been wanting this thing. So why did you guys do that, basically?
And it was kind of throwing shade their way, especially pointing out that like the fact that you open your stuff up led to them wanting to sniff out vibranium, which yeah, they made a machine that can actually detect this stuff now, and I am sorely afraid they're going to detect my place as much as they would have detected your head. You would not reveal.
So he just simply has a simple request: find the scientist, American scientist that built that detector, bring it to him, and Wakanda will have an ally in Telecon. But refuse the order, and things might get a little hairy. So you could
But
argue he was being reasonable.
the fact, reasonable nothing. He was literally just going to declare war on the entire world if the man wasn't met.
So yeah, and I like how he leaves, and then there's like this big old the detector right there, and
It's like,
how
oh, how the fuck did that come from?
not a sound or nothing. And they point out how he also has the wings on his feet and everything like that. So,
Which obviously gave me a little bit of a laugh. It's like, okay, so they put the detector right at your feet without you knowing, The fact that he came through undetected and is wearing vibranium, able to breathe water that long, and the thing that made you just so questioning is like, did he have wings on his ankles?
Well, yeah,
Like, very astute observation in there. Like, not a whole lot of other blinking red flags going off here.
but and I like how he says his own name. My enemies call me Namor, and I like how he gives a reason for his name later in the movie. But oh my gosh, I know I saw early reviews of people who saw things and they kept saying things like Namor is intimidating and slightly, horrifying at times. And I'm looking at this going, yeah.
That's quote the JonTron clip from the Are You Afraid of the Dark review. They didn't blow it.
And to quote another movie from this year, as Eggman says, nice when unparalleled evil lives up to the hype. How do you say it?
That's about on par with what he said.
Yeah, basically that's what like, I say this, but he's not evil per se. You understand what he's doing is for the good of his people, but not in a misguided way, like say General Zod or even Black Adam in the comics. Is actually that's actually the most closest analog Namor in the comics has in DC is Black Adam, and both are very super powerful beings that aren't really allied good or evil. But if you're going to screw with their city, you better expect to see that hammer coming down.
And so, they decided they do have to probably find this scientist, and they do that by means of recruiting back their old American ally, Martin Freeman.
Yeah, Secretary Everett Ross, who's not related to General Ross, by the way, but yeah, but Everett Ross from the CIA is they're contacting and looking at the reverse, junk parts and everything. They realize, they go to meet him and they say, yeah, this is from MIT. This is from the I know, but that's all I can give you. And when they go there, they find out that, oh, the inventor they're looking for is but a student. I like it when they say, this is one of those colleges. It's like one of our learning schools at Wakanda. And so is the scientist a professor? Bro, no, the scientist is a student.
Oh, god damn it!
Yeah, and oh man, I love how Okoye attempts to blend in. But yeah, but it was Okoye who insisted that the Princess Shuri come with them to this mission where they go, yeah, I could do this mission on my own, but I think that was that they're deciding, yeah, let's take the princess with us, which ooh, it's gonna have a rebound as the movie progresses. Enter Riri Williams, the MIT grad who, I mean, 19-year-old MIT, awesome, wonderkind, who built a lot of stuff from her own, scrapyard and stuff, and also helps with the homework program with other students and stuff. So, of course, she is more than surprised when the Princess of Wakanda herself shows up in her lab, along with her bodyguard with a spear, which leads to some rather humorous moments. In fact, a lot of the humor in this movie will be coming from Riri's interactions with stuff like that.
So yeah, I did love the fact that she immediately recognized the freaking princess of Wakanda outright instead of just going like, okay, who the heck are you? Why are you knocking on my door?
Are you recruiting me?
Like, no,
But I love how they said how to pretty much persuade her to come at the after she tries to be really resistant. He says, okay, let's see if she can handle the murderous fishman, the merman who would try to kill her all on her. So she's got it handled. Oh, wait, what now? Oh, by the way, Namor's other condition was you don't tell no one else of my existence. They must not know about me, otherwise, Wakanda falls.
but you'd have to kind of raise your eyebrows. Okay, how, is there any way that he could have even spies around to know about this? Like, when we learn later, it's not like the Tau Colons are uh, subtle about hiding their presence out in land.
But they usually leave no survivors, which it sounds like by their attacks and everything. So, which by the way, they're pinning it on the Wakandans, given that their little stunt with the outreach center happened. anytime this military facility goes out, they're going. It was probably the Wakandans, and you got so this leads to them going to Riri's little garage where she explains how she built the device. It took her months to make.
And it's like, okay, so like, why did you want to build this? Like, you trying to find vibranium to help aid the Americans? And she just goes like, uh, no, I just did it for a freaking like metallurgy project.
And it was just a project.
That's, you're telling me that this whole entire story arc is going down all because you didn't decide to make a fancier like foam volcano?
Yeah.
Oh
So,
my god.
but yeah, this and it also makes sense that the military would contract, using a student's project as a way to do real things. So it's, but yeah. So what's great is that we get to the first riveting chase scene where the where the FBI decides to go and you know uh apprehend Riri and the Princess of Wakanda and the Madora Milaje. So you're like, oh, this is just an international incident waiting to happen, and it is. But what made me laugh so hard is that Riri's speech and mannerisms remind me so much of a niece that I have. To the point where I whispered her name to my sister, and we were both laughing anytime she was on screen doing a frustrated, no, 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 I can't handle this shit right now. I'm like, that's my niece right there. We're just laughing about it.
Oh dear.
Like, not in a disrespectful way. It's just that it was amusing to us because every now and then you'll see a character in a movie that reminds you so much of a relative you can't help but see them. But yeah,
But
the
but immediately, like right out the gate, like you, like no sugarcoating it. She's already got pretty much her own suit.
yeah, she's been building an Iron Man esque Stark Tech derived suit on and off, and hell, even the guys in the damage control when they see her go, "Oh, she's got a freaking Iron Man suit." It's basically just a skeletal structure, but it still has the repulsor tech and the jet boost.
She didn't go about and make pretty substantial helmet wear. So when she, uh, you know, as anyone who gets a future child, have to go see how high they can get in the atmosphere before they or the suit like conks out. So of course she like pushes her own health to make sure to get a drone that's checking our Wakanda duo in a very almost very choreographed move that would lead the drone to take out a barricade that was coming their way.
Oh, on top of that, I like how like I said, Okoye is having a back and forth with the AI that Shuri has developed, like her own Jarvis basically. I love when she keeps saying, "Give me full control to the princess, or I will stick the spear so far into your CPU you won't be able to process computers for a millennia." Even the computer's like, that won't be necessary. I'll take it to like it made me laugh. Its sense of self preservation was that advanced.
Mhm.
So
I do like to have a joke that Shuri made. It's like, look, AI is literally not gonna take. It's not like in the movies. It's not gonna do anything outside of what I tell it to do.
if only it
And,
worked that way for children.
and of course, they just sit there going like, yeah. And how did that work out when Ultron became a?
Oh, yeah, Ultron Prime in the What If episode is the worst case scenario. Although I love Carol's joke in there. I've already seen the movie with the killer robots, and it does not need a sequel. Hmm. So, unfortunately, their clean getaway is interrupted by the biggest get over here you've ever seen, and a water bomb of all things. I loved it whenever those water bombs went off, because I always go, "Oh shit!" when they do, because it's poetry in motion, but it also is terrifying. I can't. It's like a tidal wave or a rift compressed into a single orb, and you just let it go, whoop, and you get that forceful power out. It's just, yeah, it's devastating.
And let's just say like how brutal and shocking it was. church encounters going down when the Takaloans made themselves known. That they were pretty quick to put down any witnesses.
Oh yeah, they were killing the cops that were right there off the bat.
Wait, are they blue? Ah, shit!
Yeah, and by the way, the Talocans give me the biggest Mortal Kombat vibe. I can't explain why. They kind of remind me a little bit of
Total
the
con.
Kotal Khan's people, and hell, even the Namora, the female general of the Talocans, looked very much like Katana's Mortal Kombat 3. Look with the bun hair and everything. I'm like, she was kind of cute for it, despite being blue and having gills, if you ask me, but also very frightening. In fact, the fact that you know how badass Okoye is. You know how she can take down people left and right. We saw it during the Claw, stake off in the first Black Panther, and even fighting during Endgame, where taking on someone as advanced as Proxima Midnight, who's one of the Black Order's deadliest warriors. So we know that Okoye is no slouch. She had a hard time with just two of these guys.
Now let's face it. Like she had a hard time like putting like all of them down. Like as she later says, like I took a text that would take down an enemy and go, and they rose up as if nothing happened.
Yeah, so that's how. And I like how Atua sort of had a bit of a personal rivalry with her by calling her a warrior in a mocking tone as the movie would go on every time he would see her.
But in the end, she gets her ass whooped and tossed over. By the way, I think my, my funniest reaction was like seeing them leaping off of the backwood orca. It's like they just jump off a fucking killer whale, and then really followed up is like, oh yeah, there's these guys that also jumped off the blue whale. Oh, okay, they can just ride whales now.
Whale Riders, I thought that was actually kind of sweet. I mean, it's almost hauntingly beautiful every time you see their troop carriers with attached to whales fly by. It's like a cuter version of the Leviathan from the Chitauri. But yeah, they decide to take Shuri and Riri captive and alive at Shuri's insistence.
Thanks to pretty much Google translating with her AI, which sounded ridiculous, but it just spoke in such a monotone way. Uh, Monotone and slow, while she was just like really like reeling at them at a fast pace.
But oh man, so again, when news gets back to Wakanda the princess is gone and everything like that, let's just say Queen Ramada does not take it well at all, and you can't blame her as a mother for being royal. Pardon the phrase, royally pissed.
I was not expecting Koye to like really get demoted like that. That must have like cut her deep.
Yeah,
But I mean, Monda did have a pretty good counter to her fact that she said, "My heart be with you." It's like, I'm sorry, you just saw them kill my son in a brutal, like almost unceremonious way. Even killing off the referee, essentially, his uncle. And you say, yeah, you gotta go, but I gotta stay in like pick the throne.
and you let that guy destroy the purple herbs, so they have no protector. Her husband dead, her son, lost because of illness, and now her daughter is captured because Okoye insisted on taking the princess on this mission. So she's going, "Hey, I am the queen of the most powerful nation of the entire world, and my whole family is gone. So you don't think I haven't given everything up like you say you did?" And you're going like, "Yeah, I can't argue with that." It's like as the nerd says, it's like you having an argument with your dad, and your dad's all like, "Yeah, well, I fucked your mom," and you're like, "Oh, can't argue with that."
Yeah, and she laments and just thrusts her spear down on the floor, and you could actually feel the echoes of that thing bringing out. It's a big oof.
But oh yeah, big oof, yeah. So we also decided they needed to find out any chance of where Shuri can be. But Ross finds only the Komori beats, but he's accosted by everyone's favorite, troublemaker behind the scenes, Elaine from Seinfeld. I mean, Val.
I mean, Princess Anna. I mean, the mom from Onward. I mean, yeah, Val.
Yeah, yeah. Louis Dreyfus as Val, the Contessa, the one who's been appearing in other Marvel shows. By the way, I want to say this right off the fact. I wanted to bring this up earlier, but I want to bring it up now that I like how this movie plays like a direct sequel to Black Panther 2 that you really don't necessarily need Infinity War or the other stuff. Like, yeah, if you have watched them all, you'll get it, but you could jump from this to Black Panther and not lose a lot of step, I think. The only thing I would say it was almost completely independent. What ruined that not ruined it, but what kind of muddies that a little is the fact that Val is on this thing. So unless you're watching other Marvel shows, you'd be going, who the heck is that? Which that was half of my group, because not all of them could watch.
They. I mean, that's not really completely lost, considering the fact that she outright states, "Oh yeah, I had relations to this character from previous movies, and we're not together anymore, and we're still working together." So that tells you, no.
Well, yeah, but I still like that. When I saw her, I'm like, I gasped, going, "Oh shit, Val!" I think I said that out loud when I saw her. And Jay hasn't watched all of fucking Winter Soldier, so he had no idea who she was.
Like, really, you didn't stick around long enough after Black Panther.
Black Widow. Well, I think he did, but I think he forgot that was her. But still, I saw her and I'm like, oh. And my sister hasn't watched none of the shows, but she all she says the minute I saw her, I knew I didn't like this person. She said, well, and you were right too because her character is a little bit of a schemer. So Ross has to be careful, not blowing the beans that he's spilling the beans that he's talking about Wakanda, who the everyone else thinks is responsible for all the problems the Talokans are causing. So you got that going on. So just had to reach out to another old Queen Romana gets a little desperate, so she goes to an old ally that's set far away with Nakia, who now lives in Haiti, in the Haitian lands, I think.
It it didn't occur to me until they were talking about it. Uh, yeah, Nakia wasn't in the final battle in Endgame, or was she there to help in Infinity War? Which definitely makes the question of what the heck was she doing other than just helping film for the finale of Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker.
But yeah, it was Nakia hadn't been talked to for a while. Hell, and even they pointed out how she wasn't present for the funeral of T'Challa, and she admitted.
Which, no, that's again, it feels like a freaking adaptation of Lion King. So Ravi and I didn't see it, the presentation of Simba.
And she admitted one of the reasons she didn't want to go is because she didn't want to have that finality. But even she had to remind her of their homeland, saying, "You know how we believe that death is not the end."
Right.
Yeah, but she needed Nakia to turn on her investigative roots to find out more about this Namor that they've encountered, and maybe they can give him a hint to finding where Shuri had been taken.
And her best manner of, like, but what's the manner she goes by to uncover this hard to find, hard to track, unknown, available man? I just literally dressed up as the lead character from Encanto.
And then going down and talking to a lady who described him, and she just gives the origin of the spirit man, the winged serpent, this Khan. And when we go down,
Which I gotta say, until we saw how it's spelled out in the Taz movie, just hearing the cuckoo gone like out loud, I just had to chuckle. It's like they call it a cuckoo.
I'll say that again because you kind of
I,
cut out.
I said, like, before we actually even saw how it was spelled out in the subtitles movie, leading up to the release of this, I just always kind of chuckled whenever they whatever Mbaku uses that name. They call him Kukulkan,
In fact, someone
and I just
even
go,
laughed.
that yeah, it sounds like calling him a cuckoo.
Yeah, someone even said that when they were watching the trailer and to before the review, they laughed when he says they call him cool cool kind of. When I first heard that, I thought he was saying they're calling him cuckoo like he's crazy or something. We started laughing.
But no, it's like Kukulkan.
The feathered serpent, and we go back down to where Ruri and Shuri are held, and we find that they're being kept alive, and Namor would like to her to show her the city with some royal attire, like because they do things
And
with Elvis over there.
okay, yeah, this leads to yet another Marvel like humor going on. It's like no. You don't see what this is all about here. Freaking Princess Leia, the what that white chick for the Indiana Jones movie.
Talking about Miriam, I'm guessing. I mean, I know you are, but I think yeah, I like how she's all like just trust her, and I like how Namor is wants to show her Talokan, but he did mention how going there she would like the oxygen in her blood would turn to poison, and she would be crushed by the immense pressure. Or you could just use a suit. We actually have those.
Yeah, yeah, and whatever happened to the bodies that were inside said suits? I
Probably,
guess the answer is you don't want to know.
yeah.
It's best you don't know. In fact, never try to bring up that subject ever again.
But yeah, so after a jet stream ride, Shuri does oh no, before that, Namor does go into the story of how uh
That explains the origins of his race and how he came to be.
yeah, which includes that,
It's just
basically
there's definitely a lot of lore building, but this is actually pretty good lore building that actually has the Pilsen payoff.
yeah, like it turns out that the Talokans were part of the Mayan, pre-conquest era stuff, and they were being killed by
And so the
smallpox and stuff.
conquistadors came over and smallpox is a thing. Like,
So in desperation, they found a glowing plant, and they figured that would probably help cure them of their ailment, and it fixed them, but it made them a little different per se, namely gills.
I was gonna say namely it turned them blue.
Yeah, so they were forced to live in the sea, but like she was pregnant with him at the time, and at first she refused, but they convinced her, saying, "Yeah, this would be the way to save him. He's sick." So they did it, and he was born with wings on his feet. And the thing is, not only that, but he's really strong, very resilient, and also can breathe on both air and land, and can also age slowly. So you got to see his mother age before his eyes over the centuries until she was long lived too, but she eventually fell. He wanted to return her to her homeland, only to see that.
Which is pretty simple enough. It just like bring back in and say, okay, this the dark side of history showing up. Rear head again.
Yep, there was a missionary with slavery going on that island, and he got to see human cruelty firsthand, and they thought, oh, he's one of them too. So when they saw his winged feet, it didn't go long for them to freak out and say, "Demon baby," the demon child. Uh,
And
one of
then
the
the origin of his name is like what it was called after the carnage they set upon the loveless child.
yeah, child without love, sin namor, and he thought namor. That way he took it from that because he has no love for the surface world. But damn, that was hardcore, and I love it. So, yeah, he did after that harrowing origin. He decides to take her down to the city of Telecon, and we've only seen them as blue people, monsters, and warriors. So we actually got to see just the regular day-to-day life of Telecons. So you go, they're no
I
different.
I was mostly wondering how they were gonna handle this because it's like it wasn't that long ago since we exactly this kind of underwater civilization in the other comic book movie on the Aquaman. It's like okay, so how does it say different? It's like well, for one thing, they don't commune with the sea life. That's for one thing.
Hmm. And for two, yeah, like it says, they're confined to a city with a artificial sun, that's made of vibranium. And I like that they make this little symbol as a greeting. Although me and my sister laugh, and Jay laughed because I thought it looks like they're getting ready to unleash a Kamehameha every time they do their Talokan Rise greeting.
But I think I realized exactly why they do that. That's literally the way that his mother held her son after he was.
So yeah, and they kind of see him as a bit of a deity. Like when Nakia later shows up to save Shuri, and kills one of them, gravely injures one of them. She looks to Namor and asks him, God, can you save me? And before blanking out and dying right before him. But like M'Baku later says, they're not just he's not just their general or king. He is like their deity. So if you do risk taking him out, you're gonna they're gonna fight for him because they believe in him that much. And he's brought them so much victory and so much strength and stuff. So Namor really is important to his people, and he does explain to Shuri. Now you see what I have to protect, and you see what would happen if they keep on sniffing around for vibranium. That'll put all this at risk. Like what they did to Wakanda was to stop them from doing that to us. So you can like Killmonger and everyone else before him. You can kind of see where he's coming from, but again, it's not from a place of evil. But it's just like that's why it goes beyond just the scientist. He has to once the whole world knows that the genie's out of the bottle, they won't ever stop. So if he fights, he'll fight to protect his people. That's pretty much his whole end game.
And it's after seeing like the type of people here, just see it's like, oh, it is just like Wakanda, only it's underwater, and how passionate we were Wakanda every time it appears in Marvel stuff. Yeah, it kind of puts into perspective that like one golden city is just like the other. It's living off of their best of lives without the outside world, and yeah, the outside world is definitely kind of fucked. Let's not kid ourselves.
But yeah, what I do like is the fact that musically, whenever we're in Wakanda, we have like that little African fusion music playing. But when it's in the Telecon city, it's very Latin inspired music, and I think they were singing Spanish lyrics, and I'm going, shit, I can understand a lot of this. So like I said, Queen Nakia is able to figure out where Shuri is and goes on a risky stealth mission in there, and Queen Ramonda decides to draw Namor away from the city to try to negotiate for Shuri. And
I do gotta ask how that even works. Like they didn't even actually do that in the movie. Apparently, you just blow into a shell and put it in the water, and that will lead to him being called.
yeah, but I think it was the other people's fun of saying Namor, the Queen demands your presence. So, and I love how he basically says she's gonna stay safe with the Talocons, and any attempt to free her, the if he finds out any ship, any spy, any little submersible, he'll blow it out of the sky and he'll declare war on Wakanda. So it's like, yeah, keep pushing me, basically. So of course, when Nakia does show up and take out two Talokan guards who they were just on guard duty. I think they were just, uh, yeah.
Although they were ready to going to attack, they even sniffed any sign of rescue going on.
So when they do take her back and she knows the gist is up, and when Namor does come back and find that this happened, he was not a happy camper, say the least.
And this pretty basically said like, yeah, okay, we're gonna take down his Wakandans down at their doorstep. And so, I do love yeah, yeah mirroring similarity that Riri got trapped inside of a cave in enemy territory, just like that Tony Stark got trapped in a cave in enemy territory for Stark.
Yeah, so when yeah. So this is what leads to the next riveting sequence where they decide to return you know Riri to stay in Wakanda and everything, but then Namor decides to strike unexpectedly on Wakanda, and it is a very like harrowing scene of oh shit these guys because people think oh Wakanda was so proud of well who can really stand against us really to be honest like let
Oh,
them.
probably another culture that has vibrating weapons and aren't above, killing innocents.
So yeah, when that happens, it's just chaos, and Namor himself is leading the charge. He's too fast and everything. It's it was a very very riveting sequence.
But yeah, he's definitely like making def, he definitely makes the Wakandans come off looking like chumps at this.
Okay, sorry
Uh,
about that. Carry on. Mhm.
yeah, I was saying that Namor was making the Wakandans look like chumps. Like, you would think that they would be the ones that would fortify. Hell, they fortified themselves whenever Infinity War had Thanos' Black Order knocking on their door. And but here comes Namor saying like, yeah. Oh, sorry, am I interrupting your Sunday afternoon bar mitzvah? Yeah, I'm just gonna knock your door down.
Oh yeah, but he takes out a lot of Wakandan ships on his own, and he'll even Shuri leads the charge with that Dora Milaje. Um,
Oh yeah. Actually, before all this goes down, we actually got to see Okoye now being humbled as a civilian, which is honestly it's like kind of weird to see her without her like royal garb on. It's like it has to be like really cutting deep on her.
oh yeah, so oh, but I do like it when the Kia does come back and everything that M'Baku says, so the spy saved the day again. Hmm.
Yeah, and then that was literally the moment where their own water started to attack them. Oh
Oh
yeah, they
yeah.
also have water bombs.
Yeah, and, oh man, those things just cause so much devastation.
It's like having a little bit. It's like having a mini tsunami inside of a tiny little the package. Like I don't think it like kills you on impact. It's like it definitely doesn't tickle you whenever like it throws you off your ass. Like I can't recall. Looking back, I can't even recall a moment where like being like at point blank range of that the epicenter of it will it kill you. Like doesn't scald you. Doesn't like doesn't give off like the force of like the riots fire hose or anything like that. It's just kind of like having a blast of a bubble just impacting at you 100 times full.
Oh yeah, and and yeah, so this leads to a head where Riri is with Queen Ramonda, and Namor himself is going over there to try to deal with her, and while the
Oh, he,
city's
oh, he, oh, he literally tries to like at one go like stake her head from the glass, but like, oh yeah, I forgot everything kind of is made of vibranium, and the glass is like crusted with that.
oh, we forgot to mention the funny fact that before that, when M'Baku was talking tough crap about taking down the Fishman, and then when he sees and when
The more
he
like, oh, it's the fishman.
there's that old saying if you gotta take
There
a
it
swing at
comes,
the king,
Leroy Jenkins.
as you know the old saying, if you gotta take a swing at the king, you best not miss. Well, M'Baku hit him dead on, and that shattered his club. And with one swift punch, he shattered his chest armor. Like, oh shit! And he knocked the wind out of him.
poor bastard is lucky enough that he just got away off alive from that. But yeah, so Riri is obviously with the Creamer Mana as Namor's literally like trying to attack the throne, and those goddamn water bombs again. But all the while, the cast are literally trying to rescue every Wakandan civilian in ships. It's almost kind of like a little bit of like how they were handling Sokovia, whenever they were trying to evacuate people off of like a literally floating city. But so almost everyone is like kind of like off doing their thing while the queen is being attacked. And unfortunately, the throne room is kind of flooded, and the queen has to save Riri from being drowned. And then next time we see her, oh dear.
Yeah, she has drowned, and Shuri goes over there and using the Kumari beads and the Kia and them desperately trying to resuscitate both Riri and Queen. The Queen, Riri
It
does
works on
come,
Riri, but yeah, even Nakia has to say that she has passed.
and oh man,
And then I'm just sitting there, it's like, geez, and I thought the Stacys had a bad run of bad luck. Like the Chaka family just cannot catch a break. Like, oh, it's the father died. Okay, well, don't worry. Has it said, oh no, now he's dead. Okay, well, let's just have the mother just quick. Oh, actually, kind of think of it like the only other MCU failure that has just as much shitty luck is the Odin sons.
oh
Like,
my God,
good God, these poor Marvel families. That now it's make me start to worry about like the Ant Man family. Like, yeah, they were able to.
the quantum,
They were able to build up from like. Oh, we had a broken family. That's back together, but we had a missing mother. And, oh yeah, we brought her back, but now we have to deal with the one who conquered. That's uh,
yeah. Well, now you got me worried for Quantum Mania. But anyway, so yeah, Shuri has to watch her mom, struggle to be resuscitated and now and accept the fact that she's passed. And the more basically he just says, "Yeah, bury your dead for now, because it's gonna get a whole lot worse the next time."
probably could have done that with a little bit of tact, but yeah, I hope that doesn't kind of bite you in the ass later.
Oh God, does it bite back? So before her rescue, as a gift, Namor did give Shuri one of his like old and made vibranium bracelets from back in the day, made with the fibers of the very plant that mutated them. So that
which
plant is
which which originated with his mother passed. So
yeah. So that plant might hold the key to synthesizing um uh,
a replacement of the long lost heart shaped herb, which you saw all burn except for one seed. Which, like, I am so glad they were able to explain that that's how they were able to get the make Black Panther come back again. Because if they just hand wave and say, "Oh yeah, no, Shuri was able to make this like uh all this time," or "Oh no, we actually have seeds for," then we just never got around to planting them. I would just face palm my head. It's like, gotta be fucking shitting me.
yeah. So in the meantime, yeah, in the meantime, all of Wakanda will be escorted to the Jabari land.
Which probably a good call considering the fact that there's no water around them to be attacked with. So, although that makes questions like, could they actually be able to thrive off of like snow since it's technically kind of water?
Yeah, and so the
And oh yeah, also it's not good for Everett Ross considering the fact that he gets outed by Val
yeah
as
Val
being a public enemy.
yeah Val had his Kamari beats bugged the whole time, so she knew he was in cahoots with the Wakandans, and that would account for espionage and treason. So Everett was going to jail. So and because he just heard the Queen is dead, like, oh crap, that's a crap show, and it's being explained as a Civil War thing rather than the telecon's attack, because Namor is very good at keeping things secret. So Shuri ends up synthesizing the herb, and Nakia helps her go through the whole process of going to Black Widow. They even kind of allude to, "Do you want me to bury you?" And then you're like, "No, I need you to have me up in case I go into cardiac arrest." And cardiac arrest? She's kidding, right? But yeah, so she goes through the process, and we're expecting, oh, so we're going to the ancestral plane. And as she's getting the chanting, she's seeing the last moment she had with losing Ramonda to Namor and everything. So
A mostly flooded throne room, and it, okay, so obviously a lot of people were kind of expected to see the queen sit on a throne. Me, I was actually I was actually expecting her dad to show up. You know, kind of another return actor that was the previous Black Panther material. It would have actually been quite refreshing to see the character actually between her and her dad, because we never actually got to see that in the movie. Like the only most we ever got was like her bringing up that she made a self-placed sneak after that movie that their father loved.
on top of that,
Obviously, Back to the Future, but
she also speaks fondly of him when they lost T'Challa, going first Baba, then T'Challa. We didn't even get to bury him. So we knew that there was a thing. So no, we get to the surprise when he goes to the throne, and I yelled out, "Oh shit!" when we see Michael B. Jordan eating grin sitting behind that throne, going, "Hey, a cousin."
hey. By the way, Creed 3 is doing behind the scenes. I just decided to stop by because eh, it's like, oh, that's where you just go like, I don't like where this is going.
Oh yeah, because basically, she's mad at him, but he kept saying, you're a lot like me. You never heard this traditional crap anyway, and how, your brother still let the guy who killed your father live because he's noble, but I'm not noble. I actually get shit done. So he's asking her, so who is she? Is she like her brother, or is she someone who's going to get willing to take care of business?
And then, of course, the scene cuts to her waking up and Vince thinking that it didn't work. But no, she is definitely infused with the Black Panther.
Yeah, she frustratingly punches one of the display dolls, and it goes clean into a wall very fast. And the only reaction that the audience and the people in the universe said was, "Holy shit!" So she does have the strength of the Black Panther restored to her, but yeah, and
Uh,
as
yeah, this is starting to be a part of the movie. My first run through, I was actually kind of worried about what they were gonna. I I honestly felt like they were trying to um, have her go down a very dark path. They were going to have end off that Wakanda is like any of the Ari and all that.
but yeah,
And I thought, okay, is this like what the multiverse theory universe is going to be blaming our heroes for every mess they do and have them be ostracized, having
yeah,
to go down a dark path? This literally happened with Spider-Man. This like almost starting to happen with Doctor Strange with the
definitely happened to
depression.
Wanda
Almost,
though.
it definitely fucking happened with Wanda. Uh, almost happened with Sam. He almost took gave the shield away to like probably the worst candidate for Captain America.
But
Said
yes,
Captain America replaced it. Definitely didn't pan out to. Let's just say they're not going to be selling action figures to the guy after what he.
I bought mine. Anyway, um, yeah. So what's interesting is she does get the armor and everything. So there's a part when the Jabari's talking to all the Wakandans about what to do, and they're all just in disarray. And they always said the Black Panther was always a sign of unity. So in the middle of their ride, this is the first big cheer the audience had was when Shuri jumps down in their midst as the Black Panther. But I noticed that she didn't have the heroic T'Challa theme. She had more of this dour guitar riff theme,
Yeah,
which is still badass.
that's where my mind started to go. Like, I'm start, I don't think I'm gonna like what this is going.
Because you're going like that don't sound like the heroic Black Panther thing. Because I'm expecting the triumphant horns that the Black Panther was known for. That bum 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 bum. But we were hearing the hints of it, but it was hidden under all this, you know, mismatch of like chaotic instruments that are like showing you more of an edge, so to speak.
Yeah,
And
and,
then
and not to mention her entire attitude like, towards you is like, no, we're going to fucking kill this guy. Like, anyone Christians that sorry, but this is going to be done.
yeah, she also figured out Namor's weakness that he breathes the air and the water through his skin. So if they can dry him up enough, maybe that might be able to slow him down a little. So she wants to take him to a trap point where they would lure him away, and then take him to a place and hopefully kill him. And even M'Baku says like, "Oh yeah, your brother trusted me to." Oh, before that, I forgot to mention that that great funeral scene where they do the funeral for Ramada, and M'Baku has a small council with Shuri, saying how there's a part where she brings back that whole thing of trusting the entire technology to the whims of a child. And he says, "I believe you lost more than enough. It could be considered just a child anymore." So he promised the brother he'd give her counsel. So here he is again saying, "I don't know if this is what your queen mother would want." And she says, "Well, if she wants her dreams, her hopes are dead. So this is not about what she wants or anyone wants. This is about what I want, and I want Namor dead." So
I was honestly wondering like who's gonna be paying the price for this.
because even he points out, this is not just some general or king. They call him their serpent god, and you risk eternal war. And I don't think that's what my people would want. That's not what I want for my people, the Jabaris, to be involved in an eternal war. But she says, well, she's the queen now, so let's see if we can get this done. So she also makes that armor for the Midnight Angel armor for Okoye and Okoye's friend Ajita. Mm.
I,
And it's so funny how
oh no, I want to actually honor her actually pronouncing her name.
oh, but I do like that.
She was like a really good character.
Yeah, but I do like that bit when
Like Aneka, it was
and
like
I do like how when
yeah, Aneka.
Okoye says, "Is it me or is this thing get uglier every time?" And she goes, "Well, it's meant to be off of you." Yeah. So
And then of course she realized that she kind of pretty much like our depth. Her traditional ways definitely didn't bring about any observable results. So yeah, it's definitely time to just
and the cherry on
adapt
top, the
time.
cherry on top of Shuri saying it has a spear like your old spear.
I am listening.
Yeah. So we get this bit where they set off the vibranium detector off in a ship in the middle of the ocean, and of course the Talocons go over there. Oh, and I forgot to mention there's another great scene where Namor in his full regalia comes down on the throne made of the jaws of a megalodon and proclaims, Talocon rise. That's a great scene. So yeah, so the final battle set when Namor and everyone goes to try to destroy the vibranium detector, when it was the trap when all the Wakandans start attacking them, and the charge is led by Shuri, who does do the whole
And,
Wakanda Forever cry.
and then also the appearance of Ironheart on the field. Goodness me, that armor is definitely it's definitely not like a Iron Man wannabe. This thing is like got its own like slick design going on. And of course, it's painted red, probably for father's car.
But yeah, so
Which
yeah,
is like, yeah, of course, like everyone, like even Tony Stark is like, yeah, it's hot rod red. Like,
Oh, that reminds me of one of my favorite lines in Iron Man 1 when he's making the suit and he says, that looks a little, that looks a little ostentatious. And he says, my mistake, sir. You were always so discreet. That's sarcastic better when he sees the gold armor. But yeah, so like
which makes me laugh considering the fact that, dude, you, your base armor design was gonna be gold, and you're saying adding hot rod red is gonna be like, too unsubtle. What's subtle about just pure gold?
yeah, so
It's like, oh, look at that golden man flying around the sky.
yeah, so Riri, yeah, just is giving aerial assist while M'Baku and the Dora Milaje are like, pressuring on the Talakans, and they even try to have earplugs against the whole siren call thing. And Shuri does manage to abduct Namor away from the area and has a very intense fight within the ship, but Namor is not going down with a fight. He like tears apart the ship and makes them crash, and then they have a very rough fight on the beach where I yelled, "Oh my god!" when Shuri rips off one of his ankle wings in rage. Like that was a nutso part, and I think that's when you got more worried when you saw her doing more and more damage on Namor.
Yeah, like again, like just even cutting one of the wings on his ankle is like they turn to my brother and say like, "Oh man, that's gotta be like feeling like your own toenail being like pulled off
Oof,
your toe."
oof,
I
and
mean,
then
it's like it's right at the ankle, man. It's like it's gotta have like the same nerve endings as that.
yeah, and then of course, I freaked out when Namor used one of the his broken staff and impaled Shuri right on it. Oh, but not to mention there's that cool little bit of comic homage when Namor shouts out Imperious Rex, which is his catchphrase from the comics that he would shout before going into battle.
Hmm.
The
Yeah,
Latin
I remember with Imperial Strike said something to do with name, but I just didn't know. It's like okay, I know it says something.
uh the Imperious Rex stands for Empire King, and it's just in short, it sounds cool. That's the reason they picked it in Marvel back then. It sounds cool to have him just shout out Imperious Rex. Although there was a funny thing in a recent Thor issue, like from 4 years ago, when he says it before a fight with Thor, Imperious Rex, and Thor's like, "What does that even mean?" And he says, "It means I'm about to feed your Asgardian carcass to sharks when I'm done with you." So yeah, uh, he drives her out in the desert, and the part that made me go, "Oh snap!" was when she does the Wakanda Forever cross to activate the engines and fries the back of Namor's ass. But he's still alive. The guy's a damn tank. I'll give him that. So that happens right after he impales Shuri, but she gets motivation from beyond. Oh, she's also not willing to tell Nakia who she actually saw in the ancestral plane because Nakia keeps saying, "What did you see?" And she's all like, "You either saw nothing or it was someone else." And she doesn't want to tell exactly who she saw because if she,
It would be kind of awkward if she came and said, "Oh, nothing. Oh, no one special. I only just literally saw the guy that literally just kicked my brother off the ancestral challenging ring, burned all the heart-shaped earths, almost made our country go to war, entirety world, and also was just kind of a complete arrogant jerk to our family, all because you know their uncle was just like too short-sighted to like put the country's needs and like endangering everyone's lives by going like with the aggressive black, black power movement."
yeah. So she does have Namor at the mercy, but the thing is that she heard Ramonda's voice telling her to remind show them who you really are. And what about her saying I am not like my brother reminds me of when T'Challa was talking to Romanoff and says, "Your father sounds very peaceful." My father thought so. I am not my father. I will find this man, and he goes, "Oh, we'll find him before you. Don't bother. I'll kill him myself." So remind me of that. So her saying that I'm not like my brother, I will get Namor. I want to see him beg for mercy before I kill him. So here she is at his beck and call. spear to throat, and then she tells him to yield because as she's thinking about Namor killing her mom and destroying Wakanda and causing all this problem, she also had flashbacks to the happy people of Telecon, the beautiful light, all the suffering he'd gone through in the centuries before, and that made her realize, well, crap. So she pretty much tells him to yield because his people will be needing him, saying how the vengeance that they've been going through, him against the surface world and her against him, has consumed him, but they won't let it take out their people in an eternal war or nothing. And it kind of reminds me of when M'Baku had the challenge with T'Challa, and he was telling him to yield, that he fought with honor, but you don't be killed because your people are going to need you. And M'Baku did the smart thing and yielded. So that's what seeing Namor up on the ropes and having the people of Wakanda basically being pushed back, like if in a ritual challenge.
I honestly thought that was like pretty clever.
So when she told him to yield and Namor realizes, yeah, okay, I yield. So,
Like you are not our enemy. I can see that now. Just
mhm,
you would do just exactly like we would, given the circumstances.
yeah. So he goes to the people, both Shuri and Namor, and they say that their fighting has stopped. That they have more in common than to separate. So they would be it would be better beneficial to stop the fighting now and peacefully. And he shouts Telecon Rise while Shuri shouts Wakanda Forever, and
Title drop.
that's when we actually hear the heroic Black Panther theme appear when she says Wakanda Forever, showing you that she's kind of moved on from that narrow path of vengeance, which was the same route that T'Challa went through when he was in Civil War.
This is definitely like a very fitting essentially. If you think about it, Civil War was kind of like the first Black Panther. Black Panther was Black Panther 2 for T'Challa's story.
And you can count Endgame and Infinity War as one big thing, right?
Yeah, but it definitely have like enough of a story for a T'Challa trilogy that makes sense.
But yeah, so they so Riri gets to go back home to Langley. Uh,
She doesn't get to bring her suit, which like people are like, yeah, she's not bringing a suit, but you do realize that she's got the blueprints down pat in her head, right?
hmm. But she returned the favor by at least restoring her father's car from the ocean that was lost in the telecon fight. So part by part. And Everett Ross was bailed, sprung out by Okoye, who makes a funny joke because the running joke is they call him colonizers. So when they see him, oh, a colonizer in chains. Now I've seen
I've
everything.
seen everything. The audience had to laugh at that one, even my brother. Like,
Yeah,
that's okay. That was a good word to joke. We'll get that one.
and then we
The,
have
they were they were doing setting up a traditional like rise of power ceremony, but M'Baku is like the Black Panther has opted to not join today. So who is to challenge the throne?
yeah.
I guess it means M'Baku is going to be the new head of Wakanda now.
I'm guessing it's kind of a co thing. I think he'll be like the one that enacts Wakandan duties since he's always in the Jabari tribe. And uh
It was kind of the most level-headed of the bunch, and like one to actually not sit around in their asses wondering what to do. What did the king do? What our ancestors do? Like the other heads of the Wakanda tribes starts like I'm sorry, but the other Wakanda leaders are starting to become a little bit redundant. Like all they do is just sit around in a circle.
it's like we should do something.
Should we do something?
We should do something.
Can we do something?
I'm changing. Yeah, but I got a different hat. Yeah. Anyway, you get the joke. But point is that yeah, even though Mbaku was the one that said, "Excuse me, but correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you the guys that allowed Alaska to depose our king and destroy all of our heart herbs. Yeah. So yeah, Mbaku will run that stuff. It looks like, and then she goes back to Nakia and decides to do her mom's little ritual of remembering the best of him. Oh,
and burn away the ceremonial funeral robe.
because she refused to burn the funeral robe, and she said she'd rather burn the whole world than that thing. So here she is finally accepting his loss by burning it. But the thing is, she sees all the images of the good memories she had of T'Challa,
And
and
then the movie ends there.
I thought, what a sweet way to end on that way on the good memory. But it
Well,
wasn't done
then
yet.
it's funny because a long time we always heard talking like, oh, there's gonna be no after credits scene. We don't want to have everyone like suddenly turn about and say, oh, we're gonna be excited about like this and that being reviewed. No, we don't want to centered on Honda here. But then literally a few days before release, they say, oh yeah, there was actually one mid credit scene, and that kind of made everyone raise their eyebrows like, oh, so what's gonna be actually revealed here?
What's great about this scene is it actually leaves you on a much more happier note. Because I'm not saying leaving on Shuri burning the funeral shard and remembering T'Challa would be a bad way to end it. It's a sweet way. It's bittersweet. But the way they actually end you with the feeling you see in the mid credit sequence actually, I think, lifts you up. I think so.
So Nakia comes about joining her as she has a little kid with her.
I think his name is
That,
Sione. He has a given name that's really long and fancy. It comes from a traditional name.
but you can go ahead and explain it because I already like nailed this kid was the moment laid eyes on him and say, oh, okay. So I guess something did happen after the credits to the first.
And they say that she hadn't been seen in Wakanda for 6 years, and she chose not to come to the come to the funeral for the finality of it. And she says that this kid, he has another given name. His full given name is T'Challa, and this is actually
Son of King T'Challa.
yeah,
And,
th-
oh, so we have Junior here.
yeah. Toussaint is his full real name, but his actual given name is T'Challa, and that she raised him far away so that he can be away from the pressures of the throne, just be a normal kid without the worries of ascending and all that stuff.
And,
And
and what's even better is that that wasn't her call to make. That was actually the father's call.
yeah,
So
so
T'Challa knew beforehand that he had a son. So that that's good to know that he didn't like go off without knowing about this.
well, apparently this happened before Infinity War, I'm guessing. So
So basically, it reveals that Nakia and T'Challa Jr. survived the snap and blip.
hmm and she said that they didn't want to go to the funeral because that would feel too
Oh
final.
man, oh man, now I gotta imagine like the next time T'Challa visited, like a little bit starstruck to see like the little guy grown up a little bit to be at least like 5 years old. His best time before it started to take.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say on that note? Same thing too. Oh, fuck, what was I saying already? Uh,
Oh yeah, even the queen actually met her grandson.
she was actually going to reveal that before Namor showed up, but she says something I should tell you about your brother. And then before she can finish, that's when Namor's like something's happening.
Oh, that's what that. Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Uh,
Oh man.
and I'm all thinking, I hope they don't leave that thread hanging. So when they reveal Toussaint and Nakia, I go, oh, and then she said, did my mother meet them? And she said, yes, Queen Ramada did know and meet her lovable grandson.
But it's so nice to know that we will eventually if you have Ada Chala as Black Panther. They went about it with a very smart way.
And they even say at the very end of the credits, very end, the Black Panther will return.
Actually, we didn't stay that long. We had to bail because it was really getting late. I had to give the tires I was giving to my brother.
But that's what that's I did stick around because I just wanted to stick around, and it's at the very end, yeah. Oh, and right after revealing Toussaint, uh
It's, he called her Auntie Shuri. That melted me a little bit.
yeah, at the very end it said after that bit it says in memory of our friend Chadwick
Dedicated to
Boseman.
memory of our friend Chadwick Boseman.
Like, oh, it reminds me of in the Last Jedi how they'd have the whole credits of all the credits roll. Then it stops for a second to say in loving memory of our Princess Carrie Fisher. So people said if you were holding it back the entire movie, you probably would have lost it meeting Toussaint because he's just such a sweet kid. And then he says like Toussaint is a great name. He does have a given name. Ask him. And then Wakanda she goes, "Who are you?" And he goes, "I am T'Challa, son of T'Challa." Like, oh, I guess that makes him T'Challa the second.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call it Junior from the.
I know for a fact maybe M'Baku will call him Little Panther or Little Junior when he sees him probably once he's discovered. Because in the Young Avengers comics and or Future Avengers, they did have a Black Panther representative who was the son of T'Challa. Only he had a different name. I think his name was Aziz. I think, but he also took the mantle in the Young Avengers. So I think that's what they're setting up with uh with the reveal of Toussaint. But seeing him, and plus he looks a lot like Chadwick anyway, that you can't help but feel like, oh, in a way, he still lives. It's like what Rafiki says, he lives in you. So I just got a little like, oh. And you leave on the movie on a much happier note with that interaction, because, like I'm saying, if you just left it with the no credits and after Shuri burning, it would be sweet, but it'd be kind of bitter sweet that she accepted to move on. But ending it with the that mid credit sequence just leaves you with a smile on your face. I think, like you'd have to be pretty hard not to smile at it. I think.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah,
what?
I'm surprised. I honestly thought they were gonna leave off with a little bit of a hint for the Ironheart TV series, but we're not that far in yet for that to be a, like even earshot of like yeah.
Yeah, it's still a ways off. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
this is pretty much the last Marvel movie Phase 4.
oh, so what are your thoughts on Shuri and her Panther armor and her Panther gear?
I did like that she decided to go for thing. It definitely leads creating her seeing a vision of her cousins essentially. But I would also think that in a sorry, like that. But to her to honor her brother Mary by like going for the gold instead of the silver because he rocked the silver, like look a little bit more.
Yeah, don't forget. Remember he did kind of gravitate to that at first. I like how he says the part. You like that one? It's tempting, but the idea is not to be noticed. Oh, then you like the other one then. But she had to make a statement when she appears, not just I'm your queen, but the statement is the Black Panther is back. In fact, that's when M'Baku declares the Black Panther lives. That was a big fuck yeah moment. And I like that her nanotech incorporates the sonic cannons that she had in her default fighting mode from before. True, Namor shattered them, but it was still cool to see her use the sonic cannons again. But yeah, but I do like I want a figure of that Black Panther to go with the rest of mine. Well, I don't have one.
I, I I do also love the fact that she did add her own uh, favorite types of weapons she used to do, the sonic blasters, to her suit, which is probably a little bit of a risky venture considering the fact that her suit is vibranium and like, Namor could have used that against her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
had 2 seconds of thought to realize, oh yeah, sound actually affects vibranium.
Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that. there's a part where the Talokan Namora was a little upset with Namor that why is he kneeling before the Wakandans, but he said basically, no, we just found out we had a common ally. You know that when the world goes to war with Wakanda, that Talokan will be, yeah, yeah. Namor's cousin Namor is upset about, but he promises Shuri's empathy for the people is useful because Wakanda has no other allies. So when Wakanda needs help, who are they going to turn to? And I like how he made a painting of the winged serpent fighting a panther. Like, oh, I get it.
Is that what it was? I couldn't figure. I honestly can't understand like Mayan art. Always just like a bunch of blocks looking at each other.
No,
Especially considering the fact that the zoom in didn't clear up. I don't know. It must have had like a bloody screening or something. I couldn't tell what I was seeing.
I know I seen enough of AVP to know what a fighting serpent looks like. So yeah. But by the way, any standouts from the Talocons you really liked?
Uh, I honestly thought that Neighbor had a little personality going. All the other ones are just kind of one note.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think I really gravitated toward Namora because well, she was kind of cute but also fierce. So yeah. But Atua was pretty cool too. But I liked Atuma had that little back and forth with Okoye the whole time. Yeah, but I really did like the Telecons, and of course, like I said, Mbaku is my favorite Wakandan. So it was just fun all around. And again, I think do you think we'll probably see Shuri again in the Panther garb, or do you think that they're saving the future Black Panther for T'Challa down the line?
I think that that's just only for a long, long while. We're gonna have Shuri for a while,
Well, that depends on.
unless we're gonna do another freaking time skip like we do in Endgame. That one threw us for a loop. It's like, oh, okay, is it just gonna skip like a huge chunk of character development time there? Okay, well, no, that's cool. That's fine. It's not let's start 10 years this just to have 5 years yanked away from us.
But oh yeah, but I haven't. Like I said, I really did enjoy this movie a lot. Ludwig Göransson's score is always amazing as always. And you just the ride was great. I think I actually want to see this movie again, which I haven't done much double viewings this year, mostly due to timing. But I think I definitely want to make the time to see Black Panther again. Oh, it was so funny for I was taking a picture for a thing that involved showing us watching the movie. So I did the Wakanda Forever cross, and my sister did what in a previous photo, but the shadow got my face, so we did it again. Only the second time around, she was doing the Talokan Rise sign, and it made me laugh that I didn't know she was doing that till after we took the picture. And coincidentally, she was standing on the side Namor's poster floating head was on, and I was standing on the side Shuri's was on. So it was kind of funny that we unintentionally aligned with the poster. Mhm. Well, yeah. So do you have anything else more you want to add? Oh, I just realized we didn't even think about how if there would be any place where Stan Lee would possibly appear if he were to still be alive for this movie. If anything, I imagine he probably would appear.
No, actually I got one. You would probably have had made like a sassy comment seeing the French attack team getting busted in public in front of everyone.
Yeah, either at the UN or he'd probably appear in MIT, I think. But
Yeah,
yeah.
either one of those.
Oh god, that's gonna be a fun game, but a sad game if we play and we can say, what? Where would Stan have shown up? I think if in Black Widow, Stan definitely would have shown up in the Russian prison somewhere. I have no idea where he would appear in Eternals though. In Shang-Chi, he would definitely be a bus rider, that's for sure. If he was alive, he'd definitely be either in the bus rider or in the magical underground fighting rink as a spectator. Well, anyway, so I think we've gone on live for quite a long while, and we both agree we liked it. So, is there anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
All right then. Well, hopefully when you guys watch this video, there'll be no stupid glaring audio issues or anything else. Hope you enjoyed us just rambling along with about Black Panther. That's what we do here. We ramble, and let's hope that you got some enjoyment. Express some of your thoughts on the bottom below. Be fun to get that interaction. But for the most part, thank you all for joining us. And I don't know what the
We're probably gonna end up being tucking again when Avatar comes.
knowing my
Maybe
stu knowing my
I
stupid
don't.
ass.
You'll probably just drag me by the newly formed Navi tail that was hard from watching this movie.
Yeah, I'd be like, come on, we're talking about this. Nah, I gotta process it. No, come on, we're doing this now. But yeah. Um, also one last time, rest in peace, Chadwick. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. And for the rest of you all, I hope you'll rest and have a wonderful night. This is Josie Cat 79 signing off. Joined by my co-host Derek, aka Dark Neon.
And always remember, rise Talocon and Wakanda forever.